Hi there, and welcome. I'm Beth. This week I wanted to share something new. A while back I had a video comment asking if I would sew clothing for Integrity Toy dolls. I replied that I didn't have any of my own to dress, and they said that they'd love to send me one of theirs as a model. We messaged back and forth and came up with our plan. My collaborator, Brian Roquero, would post their Lemon Lullaby Poppy Parker doll to me to use as a model. I would then be able to design and sew an outfit for her and send her back to Brian with her new clothes. Brian offered to include a second doll in the parcel for me to keep for myself. I was delighted by this idea, as I don't really have any other dolls that look like these. My collection skews more to the cute and cottagecore style of dolls, whereas Bry's is much more adult and edgy, super fashionable and sexy. Brian works extremely hard as an oncology nurse and loves having this doll collection to come home to and photograph as a form of stress relief and relaxation. I'll include some pictures from Instagram here at Brian Roquero, so please do check them out there. So inside this very well wrapped fancy doll box, I've received the dolls. This gorgeous girl is the one that I get to keep for myself. I was just blown away at seeing her in person. I don't think I was expecting this beautiful body to come with her. It's like the model Muse body that I often see on Hextion's channel. I don't think Brian told me which head she has. If you recognise her, please let me know in the comments. I just love this body. It's so weighty and smooth. Her face is gorgeous. I love the over it expression on these dolls and the side eye. Next to be unveiled is the drop dead beauty, Lemon Lullaby Poppy Parker. Her outfit is so elaborate. Baby doll nightie and frilly gown. She also has the yellow heels and teddy bear that I took out first. Her body is more articulated, but she's also beautifully sculpted, with long painted nails and even a ring. She'll be a pleasure to sew for. Finally, here, Brian included a second head for me to keep. This is from a Mitzi doll, and I have been told which body type will fit her if I want to get her one. She's also stunning. All of these ladies are so beautifully painted. I went and thought about what I could sew for Poppy, about the type of fashion best suited for these long-limbed model-type dolls, and I found some inspiration images. I remembered being so inspired by the miniature dresses shown by DIOR during the pandemic. Their Autumn-Winter 2020 Haute Couture collection was entirely shown in miniature. I love the classic new look silhouettes, 50s and 60s fashions too. Now, I've no delusions that I could produce something so refined and exquisite as DIOR, but looking at other similar styled dolls, I decided this was the type of dress I'd like to try to pattern. Once I had sketched out some ideas, I measured Poppy and plotted out a kind of sweetheart bust bodice template. I did some maths and was able to sketch out the bodice to scale. I used a piece of kitchen roll to test out the fit. The first test showed me I needed deeper darts so that the bust could cup inwards more. I retraced the template, which doesn't yet include seam allowance. I tilted back the back end of the template upwards, expanding the dart a little more. I sketched in the seam allowance and cut it out. I decided to couple the strapless bodice with a long skirt. I measured Poppy and planned out the pieces I'd need. I'll use 2 pieces with a third peplum style section at the back. I'll create an opening in the back to line up with the bodice's centre back. It'll be a bit like this from the side, longer in the back. I make my first mock-up with this light drapey cream fabric, hand sewing the darts on an inner and outer layer, before joining them both along the upper and side seams. I trim the excess and flip the bodice right side out and test fit onto Poppy. This fabric as is way too floppy for the structured bodice and needs a little more length in the back. So I tried again, using an iron-on interfacing to stabilise a similarly lightweight fabric, which is a very light lilac colour. This time, I'll machine stitch the darts, and once sewn, I'll clip and turn over the seam allowances. I secure them with glue first, then carefully top stitch round the edges. I'm really happy with this one, and the top stitching too. I move on to the skirt pieces. I overlock the edges of the fabric and press the hems in with an iron before top stitching all round. Before I close in the second side seam, I work out where to sew this back opening. I've marked a very narrow slit in the back. I want the peplum piece to end up on top, so I lay it right side up underneath the underskirt. This should enclose the seam in the middle, looking neat inside and out, leaving the sides clear to be sewn afterwards. Here you see me turning that layer out. And of course it gets pressed with the iron before I move on to sewing up the other side seam. Here the skirt is closed in. The sides of the peplum layer have been hemmed too. It just needs to be attached to the longer skirt at the waistline still. It's looking promising though, so next I'll join the bodice to the skirt along the waist. They're joined and next need a test fit and some tiny snap fastenings sewn in to the back closure. There we go. What do you think? I'm really pleased with this long and elegant style, and the way the peplum type layer in the back adds more volume. you'll be able to see it better in her final shots, with the skirt draping properly. But here's a peek inside. The interfacing has kept everything very neat, and I added my little label there too. From my inspiration photos, I decided to make her a matching shoulder wrap. It closes with a snap and can be worn either way around. I also put together a headband inspired by the yellow one she arrived in. It has a little elastic section in the back. Let me put these aside for now because I want to make another dress from my sketches. Using my first bodice template to get me started, I made up another bodice, this one with a high, wide neckline. Again, I'll use interfacing to structure my fabric, and chose to use this beautiful grey silky satin. Again, I'll turn in and glue my seam allowance for the armholes and neckline. I stitch my darts and top stitch the previously glued edges. I love this silhouette. I will pair this bodice with a shorter, almost circle skirt. I left the back seam unfinished, so I can fine-tune it once the skirt is attached. I measure the waistline and work out my skirt pattern. I sketch onto paper and cut it out on interfacing. I'll trim the skirt hem a little wider than the interfacing, then iron it to hug the edge before gluing and top stitching. Here it's hemmed, and I joined the waist to the bodice too. I had a little excess to trim, so it's something like 3/4 of a circle skirt now. I'll join the bottom of the skirt together at the back and fold and stitch the upper edges of the bodice too. I can then sew in some snaps to finish it off. Here she is. Isn't this also a super classy silhouette? Very Mad Men. The back closure is lovely and neat. I did insert a label too. She has snaps in the back and wears the headband I made. And I also made her a tiny brooch. This was my husband's idea, as he thought the shoulder wrap looked a little plain. I simply glued a little jewel to a tiny magnet. The second magnet remains inside the clothes to hold it securely. I'm so pleased with how these outfits came out. I love that they can mix and match so well too. I do hope Brian can forgive their relative simplicity compared to some gorgeously complex outfits I've seen, but I think they've come together nicely. Thank you so much for entrusting Poppy to me to dress up. I've paired her with some mini fashions, glasses, various handbags, and Barbie shoes for her final shots. I mixed accessories for various different looks. I can't wait to sew something for my new doll too. Thank you, Brian. Well, before I go, please let me thank and welcome my newest Patreon member, River Brundage. I've just started a little Blythe box room project over on Patreon, so please check it out if you're interested. Please let me know what you thought of today's Poppy Parker project in the comments below. Leave me a like if you've enjoyed the video, and please take care. I'll see you again soon. Bye!